I'm going to send out a Microsoft Forms is how we're going to do this for voting for today. And today's an experiment. So the first thing we're going to do with voting is I'm going to send you a Microsoft form. And the first question is you put in your name. And then this way, otherwise, if you're signed out or whatever, because you know how sometimes things kick you out, then you got to sign back in and whatever. So if you are a voting senator, you will get an email. The first question is typing in your name. Second will be your attendance, so whether you're attending in person or if you're attending remotely. And then the third will be accepting of the minutes. We're going to do those three easy ones on the first form. And then just as a reminder, our Senate bylaws do not have provisions for voting remotely or participating remotely when the actual meeting itself is happening in person. So we were able to vote remotely when the meeting was happening remotely because of the pandemic, and there were different allowances due to open meeting laws and things like that because of the pandemic. But if we are meeting in person, in order to actively participate as a senator, you also need to attend in person, which includes voting. So I'm going to send that out now. I'm going to send it out in a minute. Hang on. All right, so we're going to give it a go. We'll see. I noticed that there were some non-voting liaisons that were listed on my list there, so I tried to delete them really quickly. If you are a non-voting liaison and you got the email for voting, please do not vote. If you do, I'm just going to delete it, and then that's extra work for myself. If you are attending remotely, also please do not vote. Again, we will go through after the vote and delete any votes that do not qualify. And it goes to your ECC email. All right, so with that, that's a little housekeeping on the side. So welcome to November. Feels like September. I had to go find some light early fall clothes to wear today because it's amazing outside and it's going to be nice all week, which will be nice for our Veterans Day on Thursday. And with that, I want to also remind everybody that Thursday is not just a day off to picnic and have fun with our friends and family, even though it might be nice weather. It is to celebrate the service of our veterans, many which are fellow faculty and staff, but also a lot of our students and, of course, family members. So thank you to our veterans for all of your hard work keeping us the home of the free and the brave. With November, it's also, we're coming up on our Thanksgiving holiday, and we're going to be celebrating Native American Awareness. It's going to be kind of piggybacking off of Indigenous People Days in October. So there's a lot of things that have been posted on the different billboards and the electronic billboards to commemorate that. I urge you to look for those. And then we just finished our Middle States report, and our self-study, and I just want to say, I'm going to hold off and let Bill and Adium talk about that, but you guys are amazing, and what a nice day Thursday afternoon, Friday was, where we could actually take a nice deep breath because we were done, and a collaborative well done all the way across the board. There was so much, just teamwork and collegial helping across all the different aisles of the college, and it was just really great to be a part of. And I feel like it was something that Middle States was always that thing over here that, you have to do this because of Middle States and do this because of Middle States, and Middle States is going to get you, like the boogeyman, And I feel like this process coming through, it wasn't like that at all. It was really kind of a nice, fresh breath of air to go through that experience, but also to have it over with as well. So congratulations to all of you and everyone that worked so hard on it, and well done, and thank you. I'll save comments for, again, Adium and Bill, but nice job, everybody. So with that, I'm going to call on our interim president, Bill Reuter.
Oh, sorry. My private conversation with the chair, Dr. David Edwards, Thursday morning, he said he and his team labored extensively over Standard 5 and whether the institution fulfilled the requirements of Standard 5. In the end, they felt that we had not yet done enough. We've certainly already started on enough to fulfill that responsibility. But I will let Dr. Sagai and Erickson talk more about it. I just really want to say thank you. Everyone involved did an amazing job, and I've been part of some previous self-studies, and they've not gone so well. We've had a history of warnings, Standard 7 and 14 in the past, and 4 and 5 and 6 previously, so I think we are on the road. I was honestly very concerned going in that we would not pass Standard 6, which is fiscal stability, resources, so I was pleasantly surprised. So all in all, I think it was positive. We have room for improvement, like everybody has room for improvement, so thank you. I'll let Amy, I see she's on the schedule for an update on COVID-19. We'll be sending an announcement. The November board meeting, which is a week from Thursday, is going to be very short. It's scheduled for anywhere from 15 minutes to 1 hour. Don't read too much into that. It's due to the fact that we are now down to 6 trustees, and one of the trustees cannot join the meeting until 11, and another trustee has to leave at 11:15. Previously, we had Susan Sports, a trustee, resigned. She moved, I believe, to South Carolina. And on November 1st, trustee Todd Hobler resigned due to a new position that he had, and he just felt that he could not fulfill the fiduciary responsibility of being a trustee. So we are down to 6, and one of the 6 is actually a holdover of the governor, and that is Kate Masiello. She's continuing on, but theoretically she could leave anytime. Her term is over. So we have 3 appointees of the governor that are vacant. 1 is a holdover, and we have 1 county executive appointment that is vacant, and that's trustee Hobler. Fall enrollment, good and bad. We're still trending year to year down. We're down 5.35% headcount from last year, a little over 7% on FT, a little better than budget. We have an aggressive spring number that we're trying to hit. good and bad as far as the enrollment. As far as the bad, our continuing students are still trending significantly down. So we got to make sure the students that are in seats in the fall come back in the spring. The positive trend is first-time, full-time, transfer, and high school concurrent student enrollment is up. High school concurrent student enrollment is more than double where we were last year. The good thing about that is that becomes our feeder for next year as far as first-time, full-time. So thank you for everybody. I know we've had some maybe somewhat contentious moments trying to have some concurrent and advanced study courses, but we are expanding our offerings. The board next Thursday will approve an agreement with Lackawanna School District to offer concurrent enrollment, free tuition and fees to students. So thank you everybody for your help. I'm going to be hosting a virtual open forum November 17th from 2 to 3:30. If you have questions ahead of time, reach out. You can email fraser@ecc.edu, Gail Fraser, Fraser, F-R-A-Z-E-R, @ecc.edu. But I will give some updates, but I'll also field any questions that come in during the course of that virtual update. And again, that is 2 to 3:30 on November 17th. And we will be sending in login details so everyone has access to that presentation. With that, I am always open to respond to any questions that anybody may have.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for our interim president? All right. Looks like you're off the hot seat. Okay, next up we got Amy Yoder with our COVID-19 update.
Is this on?
Yep.
It is. I feel like a nightclub singer. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today, and thanks for doing a really good job. This is hard. I was walking in today, and I saw two students walking in, and I smiled at them under my mask. And so it's hard not seeing that smile from our students, from our staff. So, you know, anytime you could say hello, please do it. Everybody needs to hear that now. It's been a tough week. I don't know if you've seen the news. The county positivity rate is extremely high. So we have to stay diligent. Mask wearing is so important. That makes a huge difference in quarantine requirements as well as exposure. The science is there, and we all believe in science, right? Just a couple little things. If you are sick, please stay home. Give our dispatch a call. They will create a ticket for us, and you will be contacted by one of our contact tracers. If you have an exposure, please stay home if you're told to, and also contact our dispatch if it didn't come from us. Also, if you're experiencing symptoms, please don't come to campus and go to pool testing. That's not what our pool testing is for. It's for non-symptomatic individuals. It's surveillance testing. There's free testing out there that you can be done through our local pharmacies or Erie County Department of Health. Just give them a call at 858-2929, and they can schedule a test for you, usually the same day. Just wanted to touch on spring vaccination. Let me backtrack because Colleen asked me to mention this. So, because she's super excited about this. Vaccinations have been approved for ages 5 to 11. Erie County Department of Health does have vaccination pods for that particular age group. However, you do have to go to the county website and locate those locations and times and dates. Those little guys get different doses than everybody else, and special needles, so they're not as big, so they have special vaccination pods set up for that particular group. So don't bring your kids to South Campus. Spring vaccination. So we have heard from SUNY that the vaccination mandate is continuing for seated courses for our students. That means that students will have to be vaccinated 2 weeks prior to the start of the spring semester. We are rolling out a major communication plan to students on this, including utilizing workday registration screens, workday engagement, emails, phone calls. You'll see posters going up on campus. We are going to do everything we can to remind our students that the vaccination is required and absolutely needed. For those students that are looking to get a religious or medical exemption, Those will open on December 1st, and then information will also be on our website, as well as the communications going out to them. As far as boosters go, at this time, we are not collecting information on boosters for staff or students, but hold on to your cards. All things change in the world of COVID. By all means, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Mark Petrolik.
Great, thank you, Amy. Does anyone have any COVID questions for Amy?
Can I just add a couple things? One is that for anyone that is not vaccinated, we're at 87% staff, faculty, the 13% that have chosen not to get vaccinated. I'm not here to debate that, but you are required to participate in pool testing on a weekly basis. Students that have a religious or medical exemption are required to participate in pool testing. Our percent of positives from our pool testing as of yesterday is 0.63%, not 6.3, it's 0.63%. So I believe we've had 10 cases so far this semester. But SUNY checks our data. So if we say X number of faculty and staff are not vaccinated and X number of students are not vaccinated, that should add up to our weekly pool testing numbers, and we are not quite there yet. So please be diligent. If you've chosen not to participate in getting a vaccination, you are required. It's a term and condition of employment. You are required to get vaccinated. It's not an ECC, it's not a county, it's a SUNY requirement. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Bill. So with that, I have two things I want to add with the vaccinations and with COVID-19. Again, to continue to be flexible with our students, because what happens is if your child was perhaps exposed and you get a phone call at 1:30 p.m., students have to leave and they have 30 minutes to get their kids. I know this because two of my children have been bounced for exposures for two separate 10-day quarantines. And so they may not be able to email you right away, because if they get a phone call at 1:30, they got to go get their kid by 2 and then figure out what they're supposed to do with them. So they might not make it to the night class, or they might not think of it in time for Tuesday, because they are also scrambling to find someone to watch their kids, which, by the way, their parents are not allowed to watch their kids per most doctors' advice, that if you're a grandparent and you have a grandchild out on COVID quarantine, they are urging grandparents to not watch those children because it is a safety hazard for grandparents. So I just want to make sure I point that out, because I've had to do 20 days so far. And if kids are not vaccinated and they have cold symptoms at all, they're not allowed to go to school. They have to get a negative PCR COVID test before they're allowed back in school, and that could take up to 2 days, because I also had to do that twice. So I've had 24 days of a kid home for COVID stuff, and that's just me, one person. So I just bringing it up, not for you to feel bad for me. You can, though. It was kind of terrible, but this is what our students are going through. Not only our fellow faculty and staff, but this is what our students' lives are like right now. And the other thing, our registration started yesterday, right? So we have been sending out communications. I sent one out last week. I want you to know I posted in all of my classes information on how to register for the spring. I'm offering, I can help advise any students that are not sure, but I'm also offering 10 points extra credit on a lowest test score for anyone that shows me a screenshot of their spring schedule. Their spring schedule can be ECC, it could be if they applied for graduation, if they're transferring and it's an acceptance letter. All those things, they're going to be somewhere in the spring. I'm going to give them 10 points for it, because really, what's 10 points? It's like 3%, right? But it's enough of an incentive. And if a student's full-time and there's 5 classes that are also doing that, then I think that might go a long way for our students. And while you were advising our students, please also, because a lot of us have fully remote students right now, right? We have our online students. Remind them that if they're picking classes for the spring, that they have to be fully vaccinated. I also want to bring up something that someone in communication arts and in English at South Campus has brought up to me, that students were nervous signing up for classes at South Campus. South Campus is open and will be continuing to stay open for the spring and moving forward. So that is another piece of misinformation that is out there that is somehow getting out to our students, that they think that they can't register for classes for the spring at South Campus. Yes, they can. I will be there, as well as Ms. Hendra and several others with bells on, welcoming our students in the spring at South Campus. So please, if you hear students talking about that, remind them that nothing is changing for the spring semester, other than if they're not currently vaccinated and they plan on attending classes on campus, they need to be vaccinated. So with that, the approval of the minutes, I know I already sent it out and try to do everything concise in one email, and I'm going to check to make sure that worked in a second. But does anybody have any changes to the meeting minutes from October? Okay, so if I could entertain a motion to accept the minutes from October. Dorothy, thank you. Second. Jason, thank you. All right, and then I'll go with whatever the vote is. So at this time, if you have not had an opportunity to vote yet on the Microsoft Forms, I'm going to urge you to do so, and then I'll tally that up. So moving forward to old business, I'm going to ask Dr. Marianne Partee to talk to us a little bit about what our Center for Professional Development has up on tap for us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Can't hear yourself, Hi, Queen. I just want to bring your attention to the Monday CPD announcement. I know many people are busy and you're not really taking the time to look through that. And how do I know that? Because I get emails for things that I've already posted. So I just want to remind you that it's there. And there's a couple of key things that I want to bring your attention to. Please mark your calendar, November 16th. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office is having an event, and that event is Native American Community Service. They're hosting an event, and that event is going to be a workshop on cultural competency with the Native American population. So I think it's worth everyone's time. It's in the evening from 5:30 to 7:30, and it will be held in the Erie Room. So I know that announcement's there, but in the sake of everyone's busy schedule, I think it's been missed. The other thing, please save the date, on December the 7th, we are going to have finally another event with Diversity Academy 2. So Jason, save the date over there. December the 7th, that's a Tuesday. It's going to be 2:30 to 4, and again, it will be here at the North Campus. So that'll be Diversity Academy 2. The other thing that has been posted before, and I haven't gotten a response, is that we have opportunities for individuals to engage in the COIL. If you don't know what COIL is, it is collaborative online teaching. I have 8 spots available for professional development, and I really encourage all faculty to take a look at that and consider it. It is a way for you to do inclusive work internationally. You get training, and you will get a certificate that you are a COIL instructor after the event. It is nicely compact with workshops. The first workshop that will be available for the next cycle is January the 11th. In the spring semester, you can do the workshop, you get paired with a team person in another country, and you do a project within the spring semester. So it's very condensed, and you don't have to pay for it. We've housed that cost for you. So that's an excellent opportunity. Nate Wallace is working, and he's the administrator over that. He can't be with us today, but first come, first serve. So please contact CPD or Nate if you're interested in the COIL teaching. And I suggest if you have a colleague that you know might be interested, that you encourage them to apply for that, because it's well worth your time. You also will get a certificate for that, and right now our institution is working on a way to develop badges for students so that on their own transcripts it will say that they've been involved with international learning experiences. So we've already invested for professional development for that, so please reach out and consider that if you will. The workshops are asynchronous, so it will fit in everyone's schedule. So I just want to remind you of that. It's on the CPD website in case you missed it. Another thing, since I have your attention, thank you, Madam Chair. The SUNY CIT conference will be virtual in May 31st to the 2nd of June. But the reason I want to bring your attention to that now, they have put out a request for proposals, and those proposals are due like January 2nd. So again, please look at the site and submit a proposal. We are already doing the work here. Many people qualify the work that you're doing over COVID. What we've done with our technology, what we're doing with guided pathways is well worth being at that table to showcase what we're doing at this institution. So please reach out and do that, and follow up with myself or Dorothy Joseph in CPD office if you have any questions about how to submit that proposal. The neat thing about that is if you do your proposal, you present your paper, there's a good chance it will be published this year. So please reach out for that. And lastly, CPD has funding for professional development. Not a lot, but we have a budget, so first come, first serve. So if there's something you're interested in, if there's training you want to be involved in, please reach out to my office and we'll accommodate you. And I'm going to try to work with Paula and the president to see if I could track who's reading the newsletter, because you all are not. So please do that, okay? Just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Does anyone have questions for CPD before she sits? Sorry. All right, you may sit. All right, so the big one, our Middle States self-study again is done, and you guys are all rock stars, but to give us a little bit more detail, Dr. Sagai, Dr. Nealon.
I can take it. So the first thing is really a thanks and appreciation for everyone. It really was a collaborative effort. I heard Colleen say it during our visit. I heard Bill say it. And I do feel that it was, in fact, a very collaborative process, which was great to be able to hear from faculty, from staff, administration. We heard from students during this visit. So as many of you know, the visit took place starting last week in the evening on Monday. Primarily took place then throughout the day, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then ended with a final exit report on Thursday by the review chair, Dr. Edwards from Camden Community College. In that exit report, what they provided was their preliminary overview of how we had performed on each of the standards. Some things as the message that went out to the college community indicated, there were commendations for each and every single one of the standards. So there is work that we are doing from faculty, staff, administration. We also recognize that there's opportunities for growth as well. And I think that was what we expected going into this process. And I think that's one of the benefits of going through the Middle States self-study is it allows us to see what are our strengths and what is it that we're doing well, as noted by those commendations. But also then where do we go from here? And I do feel confident that we have a better understanding of what steps we need to take, what resources we need to be able to then move the institution forward in terms of its providing excellence and academic excellence. At this time, we are in the process of providing additional clarity and analysis to Middle States with regards to comments, questions, and things that they then have in their exit report. And then the next step that we will then hear is it'll then be to the commission, which will then deliberate on this information, I believe at their March meeting, in which then a final decision is then rendered in April of 2022.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Just to kind of add, again, I thank everyone for participating, and particularly I think we need to take note that when our reviewers, they met with our students and our adjunct faculty. I think that is a critical piece. As we know, specifically, our students are the most important in terms of us delivering that academic excellence and that student support services. So I think that's really important to know that our students also were part of this process. We did do a lot of communication with our students so that they knew what this meant for them and for us as a college. So equally, we did the same thing with our adjunct faculty. Our adjunct faculty are a huge part of what we do as well. We have over possibly 500 adjunct faculty that teach for us semester out and semester in. So we wanted to make sure this was a truly collaborative effort, as well as they met with our board, as you know. And so I think just to add to what Eric and what Bill said in terms of our next step, this was really just a beginning process of what we're going to do as a college and continue. One, to really fundamentally, we've been doing some really work. This was not overnight, right? We did some modification within that 3 months, but it really took a lot of the work that everyone was doing, and particularly our faculty in the classroom. So I want to emphasize that we do assess. We are doing student learning outcome in our classroom. So I want to be really clear about that with our faculty, and particularly as well as the service side of the house, that we are doing and doing some good work. But as everything else, we are going to do some improvement, and we need to. Part of it is because our students are changing. They're behaving differently, right? So we need to make sure that we are addressing their needs and making sure that we're addressing the community. Part of that is that we also decided that we will do divisional meetings to make sure that everyone is really on the same page in terms of what our next steps will be. We will be using the in-service in January as an opportunity to really do more work as far as assessment and what that looks like for us. Assessment, I mean, not just in the classroom, but also outside the classroom, right? It's how do we know what our college is doing as a college, as a one college, not necessarily always just at the program or divisional level, but at the college. Equally, we will use that student success day, as you know, that was highlighted from our reviewers. So we're going to have student success part 2. And so we are in that planning stage. We will need the team, this team, and others to help us plan that out so that we could have a great outcome. So again, this process not only is going to help us through in terms of what we're doing currently, but also our future in terms of where we're going as a college. So again, I want to thank everyone, but I want to also remind us over and over again, it's our students, it's what we're doing for our students. So we are graduating our students are working, our students are in the community. So it's all about our students. So thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And thank you for everyone. I know there was a lot of last minute requests and things like that too. And I'm just thinking of all the things as we were piling up, and everyone was like, yeah, no problem, firing back, evidence and things like that throughout. Just awesome stuff. If you have not had an opportunity to vote so that you're accounted for attendance and to accept the minutes, if you could please do so. If you do not have a device, what we're going to do is we're going to be moving into the Governance Committee, Election to College Senate Executive Committee. And is there anyone that does not have a device that will need to? All right, so we got 1, 2. All right, great, thank you. Just give me 1 second. All right, so what we're going to try and do for those that don't, because we're going to vote by secret ballot through Microsoft Forms, and I'll let Michael introduce that in a second, but what we'll do is Erica's going to log out of, she's going to do some sort of technology over here that's going to allow anyone that needs to vote to bop in there and take care of it. All right, Michael Rio.
So we have 4 nominees for the vacant Senate Executive Committee seat. I'd like to give each of those nominees an opportunity to address the Senate. And what we'll do is we'll run the election using Microsoft Forms. Not 100% sure. I have everyone who's voting in attendance. So what I'll do is I'll send the ballot out to your email. If you don't receive a ballot, please let me know, and then I'll send a second ballot out so we capture anyone that we missed the first time around. So the nominees for Senate Executive, and we can accept nominations up until we call the vote. So if there are, and we'll do that first, if there are any nominations to be made, the current nominees are Sabrina Kane, David Yasinski, Bill Nichols, and Amy Pisternbaust. Any additional nominees for the Senate executive seat at this time? Thank you. I'd like to give Sabrina Kane a moment to address the Senate.
Well, those of you who know me have known that I have tried my best to serve the college ever since I've become full-time in 2002. I have a lot of institutional history. I have a deep interest in shared governance. I haven't been able to pursue that as deeply as I would have liked to, other than my involvement in the Senate since the very, very beginning. And so if you vote for me, I promise to, again, do my best to engage with this, to listen to people, to discover as much as I can about the process of student governance, and to best represent the community of Erie Community College as best as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. David Yasinski.
Hi, I'm Dave Yasinski. I'm a math faculty person at City Campus. I've been full-time since 2007. And I'm new to this governance. I'm a senator for the first time. I was department chair, though, for the last 6 years. And I just wanted to share some things that I've been involved with statewide. So since, my gosh, 2011, I'm looking at my vitae here. Since 2011, I've been on a math content advisory panel, which is volunteer work to help with rewriting some of the Common Core standards, and then also writing things with K through 16, or I should say pre-K, work with mathematics. The last time I was in Albany a couple weeks ago, we were writing the high school glossary. So fun things like that. I've also been part of the SUNY Open Education Resources Committee, as well as the one on campus as well with Pat Ryan and Justin Cronies. I guess we make a team of 3. See what else? I guess I just wanted to share, last Senate meeting, I mean, there's a lot of other committees, if you know me, there's a lot of other things that I've been involved with in other Senate task force. But I wanted to share, my thoughts on just, if you're voting for me, this is what I bring to the table. Last Senate meeting, there were 2 policies that were brought to the floor, and one of them regarded requiring midterm grades. And my first thought was, ooh, that's contractual. But my second thought is, maybe this is an opportunity for growth. And so I asked Jackie to ask the plenary at the FCC that weekend to ask what the other community colleges are doing in terms of required midterm grades. And that would help guide my decision in terms of collecting data and from outside sources. The other thing that also struck me in another policy statement was about grade change policies and how to involve more people, but to base a policy on outlier cases just seemed not appropriate in my, but I would like to investigate further. Are there more cases than one that was listed in the Buffalo News that was being referenced? So at any rate, that's what I would bring to the table. If you know me, I'm a data person, so I like to have all my facts. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy?
Hello, everyone. I'm Amy Pisternbaust. I am a counselor at North Campus. I've been with the college for 15 years now, and I am incredibly passionate about collaboration, which is why I'm interested in becoming a part of the executive committee of the Senate. Anyone who knows me knows that I like to work with other departments, get to know how they work, get to know how we can best support our students. As a member of the community, I think that the best way to build the best and strongest community is to work together and to have an understanding of the full picture. So, I'm grateful for the nomination and hopeful to continue to participate to make our college better.
Thank you. Bill Nichols is not present. I'm waiting to see if he has a statement to share, and then we can proceed with the vote. And we're trying to coordinate our attendance, so that's fun.
Bill Nichols is also plagued by being home with a sick child, as well as several other senators. A bunch of people emailed me today, so, which I appreciate the heads up and all that, but so I know we're kind of light.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and proceed with the vote. A couple seconds, you should receive an email, follow the link, cast your vote. It's a secret ballot. And if you're not receiving that email, please let me know. I have not included the nominees on the first ballot so that we can maintain the anonymity with the voting if I send out a second ballot. I think that makes sense. I'm not certain that we have full attendance. Like, if I missed anyone, I don't want to leave one person out of the vote. Are we pretty confident on that spreadsheet?
Did everybody get it? Are you able to vote? Is it saying you don't have permission? Didn't show up? All right. Hey, Jackie, you ready to roll? All right, I'll give you a second. Okay, so while we are getting the ballots, no, it looked like you were preparing to speak. So the Faculty Council of Community Colleges plenary was right around our last meeting. We had several different things that was very exciting while we were there, and our rep, Jackie Bossman, was there, so she's going to talk a little bit about it. There were 4 motions that were presented by the Faculty Council of Community Colleges to bring to us for endorsement, and I'll pull them up as you, whatever order you tell me.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so actually there were 3 motions for endorsement. That's a clarification I did not give you. The 4th on the G2 about the chancellor and the executive team, that is a motion that passed at FCCC, and it will be presented to the Board of Trustees. However, its scope is limited to the system, and it does not reach as far as individual campuses, whereas the other 3 do. So that one will be distributed in an informational way.
Perfect. I will adjust the agenda.
Yeah, that was my fault there. But
No, you're good.
okay, so the first, we can just start with how you have them listed. Resolution AAC1 on the general education timeline. It was passed by FCCC, the Faculty Council of Community Colleges, on October 16th, 2021, and is being presented here for campus endorsement along with the other 2. The resolution regarding the SUNY Gen Ed timeline is made considering the scope of the changes the new framework requires, and considering the work that this puts on all 64 campuses and their faculty, and also considering some of the issues caused for faculty by the pandemic in relationship to faculty participation and faculty on hand capable of doing this work and working with various general education committees. It was resolved by FCCC to, let's see here, I'm just going to read right from the resolution. Considering that the FCCC is committed to ensuring in a timely but deliberate manner that our students meet the SUNY general education requirements in order to become better 21st century citizens, and that FCCC urges both the chancellor and provost in charge to set an implementation timeframe that allows for necessary local changes with phased evaluation of courses and programs, to begin with transfer programs then moving to applied degrees, and lastly, qualifications. And that the FCCC urges a time frame for completion of the general education revision process for transfer degree programs by fall 2023 and applied degree programs not earlier than fall 2024. So this resolution is requesting that we push back the implementation timeline to these dates in the very last resolution there, fall 2023 for transfer degree programs and fall 2024 for applied degree programs. And I sent this information to Eric and asked him if he wouldn't mind speaking a little bit today, because general ed, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie, and thank you for including us as well. This resolution did go out after the General Education Committee had their meeting in October, and we'll get an update for this here at our meeting, at our next one. But in general, we actually talked about this at the October meeting, and we did feel that in essence, this is consistent with the recommendations that we sent to SUNY as well. We made the general recommendation that if anything, we wanted to have as much time as possible to be able then to implement these changes. And so even here, the fall 2023 is a bit aggressive, but because they're allowing then for the additional year for the 2024 with the applied degree programs, I feel like this is very much consistent with what the General Education Committee recommended at our last meeting in October.
Thank you. And just a reminder, we can, as a Senate body, we can vote to endorse. We can vote to endorse with comments. We can vote not to endorse. We can also vote not to endorse with comments. So I don't know how you want to do this, if we want to vote to, or if we want to make motions to vote to endorse on all three together, or...
It's whatever your pleasure.
I say all three because it means I talk in one big chunk and not broken up.
So perfect. So Jackie, would you like to make a motion to present all three resolutions together?
Yes.
All right, and Jason Steinitz for the second.
All right, excellent. Okay, let's see here. Then I will move on to the second motion from FCCC for campus endorsement, and that is concerning system-wide preferred name, pronoun, and gender identity. So given that the SUNY Board of Trustees passed a DEI policy with the goal being that SUNY become the most inclusive state university system in the country, and also that the SUNY Board of Trustees have approved the creation of DEI committees with the belief in mind that issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion run throughout all policy areas and function in the SUNY system and are tied to SUNY success. Also, with consideration of the fact that being forced to use a name or pronouns that do not reflect someone's lived experience is harmful and traumatic, and with consideration of the fact that being able to use one's preferred name is a reasonable accommodation that enhances our cultural climate and acts as a mechanism of inclusion, FCCC is recommending that the SUNY DEI committee craft and advance a policy mandating a system-wide preferred name policy be in place on all campuses for all students, faculty, and staff, and that the FCCC recommends that the SUNY system administration require a SUNY-wide implementation of preferred name and gender identity policies and processes so that all students can equitably represent themselves on our campuses with their preferred names. And finally, that the FCCC recommend that the SUNY Chancellor and the Chairperson of the Board of Trustees make it a standing policy of the Board of Trustees and SUNY System Administration to provide access to the use of preferred name and gender identity. And I suppose we can reserve comments or conversations after I present the final resolution. Let's see. Which is on the executive budget. Let's see. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll just read that first whereas I think it's important. Whereas the State University of New York, SUNY, and the City University of New York, CUNY, like other public higher education systems across the nation, in fulfilling their core academic missions, transform students' lives and life chances, and serve their state as foundations for democracy, platforms for civic engagement, engines of economic development pathways to the middle class, magnets for population growth, and private investment, and generators of health, creativity, and innovation. Also, considering that we have not fully financially recovered from the burdens of the COVID-19 pandemic, and considering the fact that many of the distributed federal funds are restricted and only provide short-term solutions in light of more of a long-term, I suppose, a long-term declining state support, and also considering that Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature have a unique opportunity to make New York State a national leader in predictability, sustainability, and equitably supporting and advancing SUNY and CUNY's core academic missions. It is resolved that the SUNY FCCC urge Governor Hochul to craft an executive budget that makes New York State a national leader in predictability, sustainability, and equitably supporting and advancing SUNY and CUNY's core academic missions by significantly increasing the share of public funds going to public higher education core operating budgets and decreasing the share of SUNY and CUNY core operating costs paid for by student tuitions and fees. Also, by fully funding request by the SUNY and CUNY Board of Trustees for 5-year capital plans addressing critical maintenance and new capital projects, as well as necessary accessibility upgrades to older buildings. Okay, so those are the 3 resolutions that have been put forth by the FCCC to all of the community colleges in the SUNY system for campus endorsement. And FCCC, our representatives at the SUNY Board of Trustees meetings, will present these policies as recommendations that have come through shared governance in this system-wide way. Any questions or comments?
Questions, comments? Bill?
Am I allowed? I'm not a voting
Sure.
person or anything like that.
All
Okay.
comments are welcome. And
Jackie, I'm wondering if there was any conversation. I'm specifically interested in the last one that you just discussed, because that resolution is not in line with what's being advanced by the Vice Chancellor as well as all the community college presidents. So normally you want to see a connection between proposals. I'm not so sure that the TAP gap is a help to any community college other than maybe Nassau Community College, because none of us are at that TAP cap. It may help CUNYs, and then it also, Excelsior, if anything, we should offer to remove Excelsior from the financial aid versus increasing. So I personally have some consternation with the faculty council in what they've approved. Again, I don't want to buck the trend, but I would suggest that more working closer with the Vice Chancellor and the Community College President would lend us a stronger resolution.
So I can't really provide any details regarding your first question. I suppose it might be your only question, actually, if I think clearly. Regarding a conversation that addressed any sort of conflict between the decisions made in writing this resolution and the ideas held by, I guess, the community college community of presidents. Is that correct? A lot, but it worked. That is something I can find out. That's a question I can pose. It is also a comment I can present alongside our Senate body's decision regarding this resolution, because our decision is ours, and we are allowed to represent ourselves in an honest and authentic way. I give us permission. I'm kidding. I just couldn't help myself.
I love it. That was perfect. Thank you, Jackie. Patty Kaiser. You got to talk into the microphone.
I'll join you in research because I know that NICET has been working to have a lobby position on sustainability and level funding, but I don't know what the status is and how it aligns with the president and the vice chancellor. And I think I would have to wait and see where we are. That didn't come up at our last conference. So.
Other comments? Derek?
Just a question. Do we want to hold off on this one and vote on the other ones?
Can we procedurally approve 2 and ask to hold on the other one?
Sure, Patty, are you making a motion to?
I'm asking Jackie when she needs to have a response on these.
We can take time to reflect and consider how we want to respond to 1 out of 3 of these resolutions. That's our prerogative.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have a motion on the table to entertain the first 2 for a vote for endorsement and table the third. Linda Perrell.
Can we vote on them separately, the 2?
All 3 separate?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to vote on this motion first. So, and then we'll do your motion. All right, so do I have a second? Jason Steinitz. All right, so we're, technology is not my friend today, so we are going to do by, I don't know, show of hands. Thank you, Erica. So, for the current motion on the table, it is to entertain the first 2 motions separately and table the third resolution. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the motion carries. Linda, would you like to make a motion to do all 3 resolutions separately?
Yes, I would.
Okay, anyone want to second that? Tracy Archie. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to take all 3 resolutions and vote on them separately. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. So we're going to do these one at a time. So the first resolution on the floor is general education. Is there any discussion, questions on the general education resolution from Faculty Council of Community Colleges? Let me pull it back up. Okay, questions, comments, concerns? Any oppositions? Okay, so then we, by consent, this resolution is endorsed. Okay, so the second one we talked about was CSL 1, inclusivity, system-wide preferred name, pronoun, and gender identity. Are there questions, comments, discussion on this resolution?
I have a question.
Okay. Can you talk in your mic?
Yeah. Is it a mandatory policy, and like what happens if you break the policy? That's my question about, what pronouns you are asked to use. 'Cause at one point it said mandated, and then another one it just said a policy. So a policy is just like a recommendation, right?
Excuse
Jackie?
me, I'm looking for language to see if I could answer part of your question. I feel as though, and I'm saying I feel as though to represent the fact that my intuition is that I can't answer your question in full. Regarding like a hypothetical situation in the event that there was a mandated, or in the event that there is a system-wide policy, and then what happens if someone doesn't follow that policy? I don't know how to answer that question. I can speak to what this particular resolution is suggesting, and that goes back to essentially me reading over the resolves again, and that would be, it's suggesting that the SUNY DEI committee craft and advance a policy mandating a system-wide preferred name policy in place on all campuses. That particular resolution might answer your question, or at least part of your question. Right? So, and it should be remembered too that FCCC is a recommending body, right? So we are recommending to the SUNY Board of Trustees that the SUNY DEI committee create a policy, a mandating policy regarding preferred names, pronouns, and gender identity that would be distributed system-wide.
Tracy Archie?
And if I could add to that, I would say that it would be treated like any other policy here. So we've already started the work of creating a preferred name policy here. It started over 3 years ago, probably, maybe even longer, but there is one in place for Erie Community College. It has gone to the policy committee and probably still making edits, but it is something that is going to be put in as a policy here. So again, it would be treated as a normal policy that we have here. So not necessarily a mandate, but policies are expected to be followed. So hopefully that makes a little sense for you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah.
Are there other questions or comments regarding this policy? Any objections to, or it's not a policy, I'm sorry. Any comments or questions about this resolution and this motion to endorse? Any objections to endorsing? So by consent, we have endorsed this Faculty Council of Community Colleges. Oh. Linda, you have an objection? No, all right, you object to approval by consent? That's fine. Okay, so then we'll just do it. Oh, no. But if you're objecting to consent, we'll just do it all the way through. It's fine. All right, so any other comments or questions on this resolution and motion to endorse? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so the motion passes. The fourth resolution, as Jackie pointed, it is listed in the bylaws. I will change its position from voting item to information because that's what it is. It's been given to us as information, not for endorsing. So I will move that out of that space for our housekeeping. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jackie, for your hard work on making sure you had all those answers and things like that. Before I talk about the next meeting, I had a request from our counseling unit for something for the good of the order. Kim? You need the microphone. Awesome. Thank you, Kim. Anything else for the good of the order? And remember, good of the order is for all questions, concerns, anything that you're like, you know what, I don't know that, or I think other people need to know this. Erickson.
The General Education Committee submitted the ILO reports that we approved. So those are now on the College Senate website. Those are to bring to your attention and really now a call for your thoughts, your comments, insights, recommendations of what we can do with this. And the intent is to be able to discuss any questions that you may have. Please feel free to forward those to me. And then depending on the comments that we get between now, the potential then to vote on those and approve those through our shared governance process at then the December meeting.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, open house is tomorrow. I'm going to be there with bells on at South Campus only. Everyone else is just going to have to miss out. Miss out hanging out with me. So our next Senate meeting is in December, which is crazy that I'm saying December. So December 14th, which is almost the end of our first semester back in person. So well done. And I'll see everybody in December. Oh, Michael?
We have election results.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Make you wait till next month.
No, don't do that. Thank you, Michael Rio. Election results for whoever gets to join Senate Exec.
Congratulations, David Yasinski.
All right, thank you, Dave. And thank you, everybody who ran. And I think it was pretty awesome. We had 7 nominations and 4 people that accepted the nominations, which is like a pretty cool thing because, you know, we really haven't had that much participation in the past or like excitement to be part of the process and all that. And I think it's really great. And thanks for running. And just everybody, just thanks for everything that you do for us. So to make us a body that is, very helpful for the college and our students and a part of what we're going to be doing moving forward. So we'll see you in December. Go enjoy that 60 degrees while you can.